The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
Hi, I'm Jason Bryan from the Short-Time Wrestling Podcast and founder of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. Shows on the network are individually owned and operated, and those opinions presented and expressed may not reflect others, the sponsors, patrons, or the parent network. Find more shows about the greatest sport in the world at the Matt Talk Podcast Network at matttalkonline.com.
Is a wondrous thing, and for you Pac wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
We finally get to talk wrestling action in this brand new episode of the Pac Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. I'm your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt. No Pat Popolizio this episode, the head coach of the Wolfpack. He's off grooming his beard somewhere. So instead, we have one of his former All-Americans who just so happens to be back in action this upcoming weekend for the first time in months. We're going to see a pair of Wolfpack RTC athletes on the mat Sunday, August 30th. It's Nick Gwiazdowski and Tommy Gantt both travel out to Oregon and compete in a freestyle match that's being put on by Wrestling Underground. And with that, we welcome in a former NC State Wolfpack All-American, a former ACC champion, Tommy Gantt. Tommy, thanks for catching up with us before you fly out to the West Coast.
Hey, how's it going, man? Glad to be on the show.
Very long-winded open. I said you get to go out and compete this weekend right off the bat. How does it feel to be able to actually wrestle against a different opponent than your training partners here at the RTC?
Oh, man, it's been a long time coming because we've been training for months on end with just our guys. So definitely excited to get out and actually compete against somebody else and a much worthy opponent too. So.
Now, Nick said it's probably been about 5 months since his last match. What about you? When was your last competition before everything got shut down?
It was in Cuba in February, I believe. January or February. So it's been about the same.
Okay. And there's been a couple of wrestling events this summer through various promotions, but this will be the first for Wrestling Underground. How did this opportunity come about for you?
It was actually I was engaging with Nick at practice, and he was just telling me about it and whatnot. And he's like, hey, would you wrestle? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll wrestle. And he just told me the stipulations, like it was going to be in cage and all of that stuff, and in the weight class. And I was like, yeah, man, I'll wrestle anybody in the cage up to 200 pounds. So it really doesn't matter. I was just excited to compete, you know.
And this really is a co-main event matchup you have. Is you're going to take on recently graduated former national champion and four-time All-American Mark Hall from Penn State. This is a great matchup. Pretty sure you guys have never faced off before. What's the scouting report on Hall?
I honestly haven't watched too much of him, honestly. But I mean, I just have complete faith in what I do, and when you throw the aspect of us wrestling in the cage into the equation, I just think I don't think anybody can take me down really in the cage.
You wrestled a few years ago here at NC State at 157. Hall, he's a career 174 up at Penn State. What weight are you guys meeting at?
We're meeting at a catch weight of 185 pounds.
Now, I joke, pulling back the curtain here. When I first called you, you said you were eating. I imagine you got to carb up a little bit. I mean, you were 157 here at NC State. It was a long time ago since you were at NC State, but what do you feel about going up to being around 185? I know you're not going to get all the way up there, but the increase of weight, you're definitely not going to have to cut any.
Oh, I feel all right, man. It's kind of whatever. I like to eat a lot anyway, so it kind of works in my favor. I'm like, I can go out somewhere and wrestle and not have to cut weight or even think about it, for that matter. It's a perfect equation, if you ask me.
But how different is it going to be when you're not cutting weight? You're actually, fueling up, eating some carbs, you're eating before a wrestling match. Have you ever done that?
Never. I've actually never done it. And that's just what I was about to say. It may be maybe I might have to ask Nick about that, man, because that's something he did a lot. But I've never had the opportunity or the luxury to experience that. So I don't know.
This is going to be a freestyle matchup between you two, but it's going to be held in I believe, a UFC ring and definitely a cage. Have you ever done any UFC training?
No, I never have. I've actually went down and talked to Brunson a little bit. Derek Brunson, he trains out of Wilmington, fights in the UFC a little bit, but I've never actually trained in the cage though. So this will be my first time stepping in there.
Okay.
Well, when I get there Saturday.
I'm not sure how the push-out rule will apply or the cage coming into the different kind of moves on the edge of the mat, but being in the cage, any different for you going into this match?
No, I don't think so. It's all relative. It's wrestling at the end of the day, whether it's Greco, folk style, freestyle, it doesn't matter. But there's no push-out rules, though. So you got to wrestle off the cage, and if one party keeps taking the action to the cage, I think you get cautioned in 2 or something like that. I got to read over the rules again, but something along those lines.
I was going to say, I saw the rules. It was about 3 pages in a PDF, so I hope you're up to date on these rules.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I gotta read over them again. It was a lot to take in.
We interrupt this interview to bring you a very special announcement from the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now in its 3rd season covering the Wolfpack wrestling team, the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast has featured such guests as world medalists, NCAA champions, MMA world champions, and a pair of WWE Hall of Famers, in addition to current and past members of the NC State wrestling staff and team. It was the very first podcast hosted by a school devoted to college wrestling, and it was also the very first podcast produced by NC State Athletics. If you are an NC State wrestling fan, we encourage you to subscribe and download to the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast to catch great interviews and get the behind-the-scenes information on the Wolfpack wrestling team. Just search hashtag Pack Mentality on your favorite podcasting platform. We've talked with Pat Poblizio before about the wrestling room being unavailable to both the Wolfpack wrestling team and you RTC guys going back all the way to March. And that obviously has included yourself. And still to this day, you can't get a workout in the NC State mat room. What has your training looked like this summer?
Oh man, it's a lot of unorthodox training, man. I like to use the Rocky movie as a reference, but that's what a lot of my workouts have been like when I've been at home. And now since we've gotten back here, we're finding ways to work out and whatnot, unconventional ways, but nonetheless, we're still getting the work done.
Were you a cardio guy before COVID shut everything down?
I was a big cardio guy in college. Not so much now. It's more so been natural for me, but I got a lot of cardio since COVID's happened.
Yeah, I was going to say, how's the gas tank going to be? That has always been one of your strengths as a wrestler.
I don't know, man. We might have to leave that up for debate, man. We might have to see Sunday. Come Sunday.
I like it. You're promoting the event. This is good. When COVID hit, you were close to going and competing in the Olympic trials as the Summer Olympics. Well, they were actually going to be held right now over in Tokyo, but how were you feeling during that process going into the Olympic trials?
I was feeling okay. I wasn't feeling my best, but honestly, when I felt like that those moments have been my best competitions. When I'm not feeling my best, I always compete the best. So I was looking forward to having a big tournament and making that team, you know. But unfortunate circumstance, and we kind of are where we are now. So, but I'm thankful for another year to be able to train and get better and continuously improve. So.
I was going to say, this obviously has been the longest that you've been without wrestling. Was some of the time off to heal and recover good for you, or are you the type you just want to go and wrestle every day?
I've always been a type of guy that is all go, go, go. So I think just taking a little step back has allowed me to be able to kind of process some things and fix some areas that need to be addressed and kind of hone in on what I need to develop as a wrestler, you know.
After this weekend, do you have any idea what your schedule will be like leading up to the Olympic trials, which are going to be next spring?
Not really. Nothing's set in stone because everything's kind of up in the air right now. Like we just got set back a little bit in terms of actually getting back into the room. So things are kind of up in the air a little bit. So I don't necessarily know, man. It's scary, but it's where we're at, though, you know.
I asked the college guys, I've asked Pat, yourself as a full-time RTC athlete, this is what you do professionally. How has your mindset been with all of these unknowns for many months now?
It's different, new, unknown, uncharted territory. So I don't know, man. It's weird, but I'm a guy that believes in staying the course and just kind of going with the flow until things situate themselves. But I think we'll get back to normal soon, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there, though, you know. So weird times, but just got to stay this course.
Going off the mat a little bit, I think I saw on social media, you fancy yourself a good online gamer. What's the game of choice right now?
Warzone, Call of Duty, for sure. Okay. That's all I've been playing since quarantine, man. Get my workout in, and then I'm right back on that battlefield on Warzone.
Any other hobbies besides video games all day?
I played a little disc golf. Play a little basketball every now and then, but that's pretty much it. I just like being outside, and I like gaming when I'm inside.
I was gonna say, I think you talk a lot when you are setting up a basketball game. Do you back it up on the basketball court?
For sure, man. For sure. I'm the best basketball player we've had come to this university.
Okay.
For sure.
Have you gone over to Donnie Vincent's house and played on his hoop?
No, I haven't, man. Me and Donnie got to set up a one-on-one. I seen him showcasing some of his skills on Twitter. He didn't look bad, man.
He's got the videos out there. He's looking for a challenge. Very recently, you signed on with Takedown Sportswear. Can you explain to our listeners how sponsors help you as an RTC athlete and what Takedown has to offer?
So basically, they'll start to produce a clothing line for myself and my brand. And basically, there'll be a lot of material and clothing and marketing and consultant stuff they'll help me with. And basically, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And I think they're one of the best companies around when it comes to that stuff. And they're actually owned by one of our former wrestlers, Justin Cowell, but he just revamped their entire incorporation about a month ago or something like that, and they're really doing some great things. And I can't give too much detail, but I think it'll be out in the next month or two. But definitely one of the best apparel companies in the game, for sure.
Is the TG logo still the same, or are you revamping that as well?
Yeah, we had to revamp that too. It'll be on my singlet when I'm wrestling this weekend. So that'll be the first time it's showcased.
Well, even better, even more advertising. NC State wrestling fans, if you would like to watch Nick Gwiazdowski and Tommy Gantt in action this Sunday night, you can watch all the action live online at UFC Fight Pass. The card will begin at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And again, to watch Tommy and Nick, sign up at UFC Fight Pass now. Tommy, thanks for joining us. And of course, good luck in your return to action this weekend.
Thanks, Brian. It was a pleasure being on the show, man.
And I want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack wrestling fans, go Pack.
Go Pack.
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Mat Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MatTalkOnline.com.